Hi everyone, this is Linda, and this time we're going to go through and we're going to do the same top portion, but this time for those with Premier+2 Ultra, so that you don't have to do those extra stops and those kinds of things and remember where you were. We're going to actually create this applique, but with the stippling in there, and then we'll create the satin stitch on the outside edge. So I'm going to move this out of my way, and I already have my hoop set for 240 by 150. And then I'm going to come down here to create. So I'm going to click on create, which is the little flower down there in the bottom left-hand corner. Start a new design with no picture. Don't need a picture. Going to do it from blank from square. Now I want to go to the draw window. We're going to hit finish. I can change the hoop to whatever hoop I want to use for this purpose. We're going to use the 240 by 150. We're going to hit finish. And now I'm in the Draw tab, and in the Draw tab, I'm going to get to create my drawing of my oval. So I actually have the color I have chosen, which is the blue, which is kind of the default one that's going to start. And down here where it says lines, I need to make that just a little bit thicker. It'll make it a whole lot easier to grab it. So instead of it being 0.5, I'm going to change it to 1 millimeter. And now I'm going to change the shape. So I need to create a shape, and I need it to be an oval. Well, right now the default is a square, and I'm going to change it to an oval. And when I draw this, and I can click, hold, and drag and create my oval. This one lets me start in the center and create, hold, and drag. So I'm going to actually create the whole thing. This one, I have to start in the upper left-hand corner. Now I'm going to click on that one. I'm going to start, and I'm going to click, hold, and drag. And I'm going to drag until I'm in that one block up, one grid line up and in from the outside edge. See how I did that? I now have this wonderful little oval. It's one grid line in from the sewing area and one grid line up and in from either side. So now I'm going to go to the Quick Create tab. And in the Quick Create tab, I'm actually going to create my applique. So I don't need a pattern fill yet. I'm going to uncheck that. I'm going to click on Applique. And then I'm going to click on Quick Stitch. And then I'm going to move my mouse until you see the arrow again. And I'm going to do OK. And now I need to change some properties here. So I'm going to do a right mouse and a right mouse again. And I want to change my satin line. So right now it's set for 2.0. I'm going to change it to a 3 because I want it a little bit thicker. And I don't want it quite so dense. I'm going to change that to a 5. Then I'm going to come to the Applique tab here. I'm going to select my fabric. Now I could choose an actual fabric or actually import my own. I'm going to do just a quick color, so I can pick on that salmon color again. And then I want to make sure that down here at the bottom it says Applique piece margin is a 1.0 and match placement line are not checked. So we're going to do OK. Those other little things are when you're going to use your cutter and you need to set some things differently up. Now I've got my applique created. Now I need to break that apart so that my first stitch is separate from my second set of stitches, is separate from your satin stitch. So I'm going to go to the Edit tab, and I'm going to click on Break Apart. So I now have 3 different pieces. I have a running stitch, I have where I lay my applique piece, my double stitch, and where I lay my satin line. So I'm going to actually put in some color changes here. Where it says stop, I'm going to do a right mouse, insert a color change, and I'm just going to pick on a lighter, like that purple right there. That's fine. I'm going to do the same thing here. Right mouse, insert a color change, and I'm going to go to a little darker purple or pink or whatever that is, lavender I guess it is. And I now have this. Now I need to create this area in here of the stippling. Easy to do. Quick Create. I'm going to uncheck where the applique, because I no longer want an applique. I don't want a satin line, so I'm going to select up here at the top. It's going to automatically go to the pattern fill. And I'm going to actually come down here and I'm going to click on Quilt Stipple Fill. I'm going to get that out right. So I'm going to click on that. And I actually want it to come in right after this double stitch. So that's where I want it to go. I want it before that. I'm going to click on double stitch here, and I'm going to do Quick Stitch. I'm going to slide my mouse over here, and I'm going to get so that I have that arrow again. I've got that selected, and there it is. So now I have these stipple stitches in here, but I need that to be a different color. So I'm going to, where it says double stitch, right mouse, insert color change, and I'm going to pick on something really different just so that it stands out really different. And I now have this. So it's going to break this all apart into multiple pieces. So now what I want to do is I'm going to I could actually go through here and do the EDO file and actually save the EDO, then do the export embroidery and export it. I don't care about saving this. This is not that big a deal. I just want to get moving and get my design done. So I can actually come here to the Home tab. Down here where it says copy, underneath there's a little arrow, and I'm going to click on copy embroidery, and it's going to copy it into the clipboard of my basic software. So I've got it copied there. It will not copy it here. This would only copy an EDO file if I had it. So now I'm going to come back and I'm going to pick on my open version of my Premier+, and I'm going to pick on this one here, and then I'm going to do paste. And I now have this here. So if you notice, I have 4 steps over here. The first one is my first drawdown line. My second one is that double stitch that's going to hold everything in place. This one is the stipple, and this is the satin. So let's go get the rest of the design done. So I'm going to make sure nothing is selected. I'm going to go to letter. I already have Grandma's Garden in here. I've chosen the Jingo 25 to 55, which is okay, and I'm going to hit apply. And it's going to put it right there in the center here, and I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger. And I can make it a little bit longer, just like I did before. Same basic process. Now what I want to do is I'm going to add in those eyelets up here at the top, and I'm going to go to the Border tab. I'm going to check, make sure Repeat says 1, select a motif. I'm going to make sure I'm in the group Husqvarna Viking, category A, utility stitches, pattern 43, and that's going to be that little eyelet, which is really nice. Make sure nothing is selected, hit apply, and it's going to put it down here in the center. Now I want to move that up towards the top, and I'm going to change the color. And the reason you want to change the color is so that it doesn't try and sew out before you want it to. What happens with blue is it tends to do that. Now I've got this, and I can actually make sure nothing is selected, oops, hit apply again. And now I'm going to go to the Encore tab. The Encore tab, it's probably defaulted to the circle, and I want it to be a line, and I'm going to do this little smiley face. To find that, all you're going to do is hit that little drop down, and you're going to get all these choices, and I need the little smiley face smile part of it, and that's good. I've got that. I want 3 repeats. I don't want more than that. I could do 5 if I wanted to, but I'm going to do 3 for this. And I'm going to click on it, make sure that little one that we just did is selected. Oh, before I hit preview, I'm going to double check, and I'm going to change that color so I don't have to do multiple changes. So then I'm going to hit preview. I'm going to slide this down here. I'm going to slide this out to the sides. So now I have this so that it can actually go a bit like this, and maybe I'll do a little bit more. So it's really up to you on how you want to do that. So I've got that all set. Once I've decided that that's good, I'm going to hit apply. Now I need to make sure that those are combined. So I'm going to go home. I'm going to click on combine, combine selected, and color sort. So now I have those color sorted in their one color. Now what? Let me sew this out, sew this out so you can see what's going to happen here real quick. I'm going to sew this out, and it's going to do that first stitch, it's going to do the applique, it's going to do the stipple, then it's going to do that satin stitch, but I don't want that satin stitch quite yet. I want to wait for a little bit, so I need to do some more changing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that this is the part that's selected, and I know that because I have 4 colors. So I'm going to take and I'm going to go to the Modify tab, and I need to I don't want the stipple, so I'm going to get rid of the stipple. I do need this one, and I need this one, and I don't need this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, ooh, I got those 2 selected, select all visible, and I'm going to copy those, which is what I need to do. Now I need to get rid of just this satin stitch, because I don't want that satin stitch to actually sew until later on in the process. So I'm going to actually say uncheck everything except that last one, select all visible, and I'm going to say delete it. Now I'm going to go home. Now I'm going to hit paste, and what it's going to do is it's going to do that second part of the applique and the satin stitch for me. I'm going to, oh, geez. Now, what do I do? Okay, so now it's all hidden. So to get, so that I don't see this applique fabric anymore, I'm going to go to the applique. I'm going to say select piece. And I'm going to delete piece. So actually what it's doing is I'm going to go back to the home tab, and then I'm going to walk through and I'm going to tab. I have this, I have that, I have that, I have that, and I have these two pieces. So I got rid of the fabric part of it because what's going to happen is when you get ready to put that back piece on the back side to hide all that nasty stuff, it's going to do that stitch to hold everything in place, and then it's going to do the satin stitch. But it's still not in the right order because I need the eyelets to actually sew last. So with this one selected, I'm going to click on layout order. And if you actually want to see this, let's watch this sew out so you can actually see this sew out. So it's got my stipple in there. It's going to do my grandma's stitch garden. But if you notice, those eyelets sewed before I wanted them to. So I want this to move back. So I'm going to click on layout order. I'm going to say move backwards. Click on layout order and move backwards one more time, and that should do me because it's going to go one color sort back at the time. And so I'm going to move this forward here. Grandma's garden. It should now do my outside edge and then my rest, the eyelets. So it's exactly what I need. So now I can actually save this and save it so that it's going to do it in the right order of what I need to do. So you're going to follow, I'm going to write the instructions on how you actually put this together and actually sew this out a little differently because you don't have to skip and go back and forth. So don't forget, do your save as to export it, and do your copy or your export and save it for using in your sewing machine. All right,